Inside, they have this stilted, awkward conversation that's so freaking painful to read. I'm serious. I think I took 20 damage reading this. This is worse than those junior high conversations. Hello and welcome to Pronunciation Points Video Snark. If you came here because you thought that this was an audiobook, please stick around and maybe learn some reading and listening comprehension skills. I read books and discuss what went wrong and how they can possibly be fixed. I'm continuing my read-through of Funny You Should Ask by Elissa Sussman. Not the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below. Since we had 2 back-to-back chapters in the previous video, I'm unfortunately starting off videos with bonus chapters until there's another one. I hope that there'll be another back-to-back one. Does it matter in the long run? No, but it's bothering me. Bonus chapter 13. This chapter is from something called Go Fuck Yourself, the fashion of the Shared Heroes premiere. Joy! I can't wait to read this book's version of the Fashion Police. Not. There are literally 2 paragraphs of this, one describing that Oliver looked good, the other describing that Jacinda looked good. Since there aren't any photos of them, seeing as how they're fictional and everything, this random aside is even more pointless than usual. They're celebrities! They're on a red carpet! Unless they're wearing literal clown costumes or something, I'm gonna assume that they're well dressed. I've hated all of these stupid bonus chapters, but this one is probably the worst. Chapter 12. When Channing gets to the red carpet, she's warmly greeted by Gabe. As she hugs him, she smells liquor on his breath, which is something mentioned a couple of times that he'd gone to rehab. However, the only thing she can think of is that Joe is wrong about Gabe saying hi and bouncing to do his own thing. She wonders what his motivation in remaining by her side is. They go over to where the reporters are, and if you've read literally any book with celebrities doing the red carpet, you've read this scene. Hell, if you've seen any sort of red carpet event, you've already seen this scene. I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm going to say. This scene brings nothing to the book aside from wasting even more time. We know that they went on the red carpet together. We know that they were photographed together. Stop wasting the reader's time. The only thing Gabe says to the reporters is that he's there to support Oliver. Inside, they have this stilted, awkward conversation that's so freaking painful to read. I'm serious. I think I took 20 damage reading this. This is worse than those junior high conversations. Anyway, when prompted how Gabe deals with the red carpet stuff, he reveals that he has a flask full of whiskey. As mentioned, he eventually does go to rehab in the next decade, but yeah, drinking is 100% an amazing coping technique. Not. As they drink the whiskey, Channing asks if this is still part of the interview. He asks if she wants it to be, but then tells her to write whatever she wants. This is said with such hostility that it takes Channing by surprise. Oliver shows up and the book decides to beat us around the head with how close Oliver and Gabe are again. Look, I get it. 2 dudes can be friends and it not be weird. Thank you for that. But I am so freaking sick and tired of this book's constant reminder that Oliver and Gabe are BFFs. Especially when you remember that this is the first time Oliver has made a physical appearance in the book. Anyway, after Gabe introduces Chani as the lady who's doing an interview for Broadsheets, Oliver expresses confusion. He knows that the interview was yesterday and seems kind of baffled when Gabe tells him that it was extended. Oliver gives Gabe a look that Channing describes as the look you give your friend when she comes home with some dirtbag and you're like, no. Channing freaks out that she's the dirtbag in the situation. Although, if you ask me, I'm pretty sure that the silent message Oliver is trying to pass along here is, don't eat where you poop. Or to put it more plainly, don't fornicate with interviewers. The fact that Channing refuses to acknowledge that particular elephant is frustrating, but let's move on. The lights flash as the premiere is about to start. Oliver asks if Gabe will be at the after party, to which Gabe jokingly asks if there will be liquor. Kind of feel like the warning signs were there of his impending alcoholic spiral, but sure. Oliver seems kind of put out when Gabe says we won't be there, but Channing is over the moon with that we. In the theater, Channing is even more uncomfortable with people turning around to stare at her. Gabe assures her that she belongs there, but doesn't exactly go out of his way to say why. He says that she's creative and smart. And I'm not slamming either of those traits, but how does that equate to Channing deserving to be at a movie premiere? I'm not seeing the logic here. Anyway, Channing slams herself and complains to the readers that she doesn't even have readers, no book deal, and has to fight for every interview. The only thing that prevents her from telling any of this to Gabe is that he's giving her such an intense look. Instead, she decides to be grateful that her day job is a thing that she wants to be doing, which is writing. Bonus Chapter 14. This is a movie review of Oliver's movie, the one that Channing Gabe went to the premiere for. The reviewer really likes the movie, and I mean, really likes it. However, the reviewer making a really obvious comment that the casting directors for James Bond effed up and not casting Oliver as Bond is a little much. Keep your personal opinions about another movie out from my review about Oliver's movie. Thank you kindly. Chapter 13. Channy also really loved the movie. She had to fight back tears. As everybody begins to leave, Gabe asks if she'd like to come to the after party. Channy remembers the way Oliver had looked at her like she was trash and doesn't want to go, but she obviously doesn't want to say anything to Gabe about that, so she kind of hems. He promises her that Oliver would love it if they told him that Channy almost cried, so she agrees to go. Channy also thinks about the article. She knows that despite Gabe's permission to write about this, he'd also been drinking when he gave that permission. But at the same time, she knows that anybody else wouldn't have thought twice about it. She eventually convinces herself that Gabe is an adult and knew exactly what he was doing by inviting her to the premiere. They go to the hotel next door, which is set up for the after party. Oliver was already there. Gabe explains that he only stays for the first 10 minutes of any of his movies and leaves. He says that Channy will have to ask Oliver why. I'm not sure if this is going to be relevant or not, but who knows. Gabe helps Channy sneak a fruity cocktail from a passing waiter, and he himself asks the waiter to keep him supplied with whiskey for the entire night. As Channy takes a sip of her drink, she realizes that the alcohol content in it is really high. It's the kind of drink where you can drink like 3 of them and end up flat on your back. Gabe finishes his first whiskey in record time. And I'm again wondering why the author didn't write any of this in chronological order if she was simply going to tell us important plot points and then expand upon them later. There's no seeing the foreshadowing of Gabe's alcoholic spiral if it was straight up told to us in the prologue that he'd gone to rehab. They make strangled small talk before their conversation is interrupted by Jacinda's arrival. She kind of looks over to where Gabe is sitting with Channy before she turns and disappears into the crowd. Channy remarks that Gabe will be spending a lot more time with Jacinda in the coming months as they work together on James Bond, then says that his life is going to change a lot because of this role. You won't just be Gabe Parker, I spread my hands around. You'll be Gabe Parker. Yeah, hi. What the fuck does this mean? Gabe then starts on a self-depreciation spiral about how he's been typecast up until now. He knows what people think about him and knows what people think about his having been cast as James Bond. He complains about his lack of education, as if his acting career somehow hinges on his ability to properly pronounce Nabokov. Channy naturally tries to cheer him up, but halfway through her speech she realizes that she's really only doing it to simply to try and get a little something more from Gabe. I can't even pretend to be surprised about that. Channy's motives have honestly been really clear from the beginning. There's a tedious scene where Jacinda ignores Gabe and he ignores her, and Channy tries to pretend like she doesn't notice this going on. She also acknowledges that she's drunk. Gabe tells her that he watched the Philadelphia story. They have a tedious conversation about that too. I would write the entire thing off as them being drunk, but every other conversation in this book has been stilted and awkward when they were remarkably stone cold sober. This quickly transformed into talking about a random list of top 100 comedies, in which the Philadelphia story ranked 38 on the list. Channy quickly starts talking about Pulp Fiction and Annie Hall, and then she takes a pot shot at Woody Allen. I've never seen any of those movies either, and the only thing I can comment about Woody Allen in general is the internet rumors about him. I have never seen a Woody Allen film, and I also don't know the facts about what he did or didn't do. The only thing that I can and will comment on is what the characters in this book say about him. The only thing of value that I want to comment on about Channy's overly long rant about Woody Allen is that the guy has said some rather problematic things about Jewish women, which is in line with that adage of if a Jewish person tells you that you're being problematic, it's honestly not up to you if you are or are not. Before Channy can apologize for this, Oliver shows up. Gabe tells him that they're talking about how Woody Allen is terrible, which fills Channy with horror. But Oliver is quick to agree, and he eagerly asks to sit and talk about this. The entire thing makes Channy so unbelievably giddy. You never know when the Woody fans will attack with their battle cry of, separate the art from the artist. He looked a bit sour of that. Of course, people only care about defending terrible people making terrible art. Because people love you if you donate all of your time to puppies and crying orphans. They don't feel guilty consuming the media when the person who made it is actually good. Mercifully, Gabe then changes the topic and tells Oliver Channy's opinion of two actors sharing an onstage gay kiss. This only further endears Channy to Oliver's opinion. However, most of this is done between the two men who are literally talking around Channy like she's not there. It's a little weird. I was full on staring at Gabe and Oliver now, trying to figure out if part of their conversation had been sussing out whether or not I'd be down for a threesome, while I was trying to figure out if I would be down for a threesome. Not sure if what? However, the longer Jenny sits and talks with Oliver, the more she begins to see the cracks behind his successful, happy actor facade. Again, not sure if this will be relevant in the future or not, but I'm simply making note of it. Gabe then says that they love the movie and it made Jenny cry, but Oliver at least is interested in any of this. Gabe tells him that the three of them should balance, that he knows Oliver hates these expensive gatherings where everybody's trying to suck up to Oliver and get something from him. This entire time, Oliver and Gabe have been talking around Chani like she wasn't there. It's at this point that both men turn to look at Chani and ask if they can trust her or not. Chani is pretty sure that they're not asking for bedroom stuff, and she decides that she's willing to risk it. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, then you can find even more Snark on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Members also get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to Snark your rating? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your rating is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just $10 per chapter. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of erotic short stories and 2 full-length novels. I also frequently run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys.